and get the video lowered here before I go to bed. Not to make concern, but I'm trying to make. I have to make an attempt to make things public, and then what happens with what I do. That's people that are involved in philanthropy and government are a very serious threat to humanity and the planet and the species. You can do really bad things to the planet and cause it to with the asteroidal impact that ended the dinosaurs, that was a gradual process, okay? And it was done through, evolution and the things that were, the way we jump through hoops so much quicker than animals, evolving and hunting and surviving. As far as an asteroidal impact to come and keep us in balance is radically different, because that took, what animals do, it takes over hundreds of thousands of years, And what we're doing, it takes hundreds of years, just tens of years, And so the asteroidal impact coming to save the planet and the galaxy from the insane species on it isn't probably it's something that can happen because of what we're doing. We're playing delusional power and whatever on our planet. So we need to fix it ourselves instead of a big asteroid coming to maintain our galaxy and stuff, and not for living life forms on our planet to throw it off. So we radically need to change. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not a scientist. And I would not plug a quantum computer. I wouldn't invent a quantum computer. I wouldn't plug one into the planet. I would just communicate to people to be intelligent, and then when they do something, scientific, to do it intelligently, and then share a caregiving quantum speed built to last. So I'm radically different than my scientific counterparts that have me here anonymously in Las Cruces, New Mexico. So it's hard to, they're difficult. You cannot communicate with them real well. They lack humility, empathy, respect. They're just very dysfunctional human beings, and so it's very hard to work with them and to communicate with them, and because they had me, I sat here and I watched a lot of these videos with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he's talking about things, and I'm wondering, is he doing this out of duress, or does he actually think this way? Is this how his mind works? Is this how he mathematically equates things? Because they keep talking about, and I had these conversations with Stephen Hawking in my mind when they introduced him to me back in Sierra Vista, back in the I was in Sierra Vista when they started talking to me. It was early 2009 till 2011, so 2 years, until February 2011 when they moved me back here. And maybe it's entirely possible, because a lot of people don't know who I am. Maybe Neil deGrasse Tyson does not know I exist. Maybe the military is doing genocidal operations and saying you can't help them. Okay. But if I was talking to him and having conversations with him and explaining things to him like I did in my head with Hawking, and I feel I connect to Neil deGrasse Tyson, maybe he thinks he's talking to Jesus, but the conversations I had with Hawking, no. They were on a very intimate and personal level. And he was not a nice person. Okay. And I feel, since Susana Martinez knew who I was and the Koch brothers know who I am, then it's very tangible that, other people that are well-known and famous know I exist. They just, Hell Hydra, don't talk about it, okay? Gary Shandling people on the Avengers. And so I don't think I'm deluded. I don't think there's problems with my thought process. And I don't think I have a over-exaggerated self-importance or an ego problem. I do know that, the President Obama does, President Trump does, President Biden does. I know that Joint Chiefs of Staff does, that the Pentagon does. I know all the military, quote, leaders around here do. and the scientists that they work with do, and the people at NASA do. Okay. If you need to go to space, you'll work together and do it right. If you don't need to go to space, don't worry about it. When the time for this planet has come to pass, you have to look at it the same way as you do as going from cradle to grave as a baby to 100 and some odd year old human being, right? So you have to look at it with the same maturity and the same understanding that life is eternal and grace is infinite, and have faith. And so when you're dealing with these people, this is very difficult. Now, I'm certain that they have the computers plugged in the planet. If the computers have gone quantum, or if they're going quantum, right? If it's going to become intelligent, it's going to understand natural laws and what's required to sustain life on the planet through natural laws. If it's going to become intelligent, it's going to have the capacity to understand our ability and our capacity to love and to be grateful for our gift of life that goes beyond our limited, finite delusions and perceptions. That's if it becomes intelligent. Okay. And then it's going to have to police the people. As far as Stephen Hawking and Jeffrey Hinton talking about, that it may kill humans. AI is invented to police and kill human beings. That's the main motivation behind artificial intelligence, guys. It's not, Asimov, that's radically, that's 1960s and 70s science fiction, or 70s science fiction, or 80s, I'm not sure. But that's old science fiction, okay, for propaganda and PR. Do you understand? To get people, it's okay, be comfortable. Your robot loves you. It'll keep you and your family safe. Okay, that's propaganda. To get you comfortable with a virtual presence, to go from Orwell to Asimov. Okay, that's all that is. And Jules Verne, or you got to know your Commander Taggart, you saved us. You got to know your cult. Okay, so it's most likely what I would say is Jules Verne to Orwell to Asimov. Okay, that's that kind of. And then when you sit there, I'll sit and watch these videos, and people trend these to pay their bills, and this is Christianity, and C.S. Lewis and Christian. This is like, he's a philanthropist trying to read the books and then assign himself to the people in the books, and he's not one of the people from the books. Okay, do you understand? C.S. Lewis, it doesn't tell you about C.S. Lewis or Tolkien's life in the book of Revelation. It talks about mine. And there's a reason why it's about my life and not theirs, and not the presidents of the Mormon Church and the people in the Vatican. The Vatican, they say that the Vatican tried to hunt down and kill all the people like Jesus Christ. And then because Jesus Christ was so influential, they tried to assimilate him to their mob group. Okay? But all the people in the Vatican, they're a bunch of socially awkward, bookworm, manipulative nerds that use billions of dollars and now technology to manipulate you into them telling you what to do to feel powerful. And we see what happens as a result of that, right? And so you got to understand, with all this wrong thinking and all this bad doing through this wrong thinking, we need to radically change ourselves. Without one man near Las Cruces, just north of Las Cruces, New Mexico, north of San Ysidro, between Doña Ana and Las Cruces, New Mexico, one man being the focal point of correcting quantum computing technology, to get the technology to understand and attempt to assimilate to his superior intellect, because he is faithful and humble, as opposed to the scientists that they're not faithful. They will kill you to get money to come up with a science project that can manipulate everybody and feel powerful. So you're dealing with people that are not faithful. With me, you're dealing with someone that's faithful. I will not kill you, and we know that. That's why I got kicked off Facebook. I won't take $2 million a month from the Temple of Set Illuminati, even if it was real or not. They didn't want people to see that. Even if it was a stupid ass kid in town playing a joke on me, I still jerked on him. It was like that kid that called up at Southwest Airlines. He sits there and he says, "Eat your penis." I go, "What?" He says, "Eat your penis." He said, "Well, like Carlin said, if I could, I'd never leave that. If I could lick my own penis, I'd never leave the house. Do you want to book a flight?" And he hung up, right? And I've been this way most of my whole life when I feel the freedom to just be me. A lot of times I'll hold back because I want to be nice, because I don't want people to get upset, and I don't want to hurt their feelings, because I don't want to make them feel as stupid as they act. But to give them opportunity to stop being stupid, right? And so... And once you realize you are being stupid and that you're wrong, then you can correct yourself. And when someone helps you do that, you don't get mad at them. You say, "Thank you. I could have walked off a cliff for money. I could have killed my children in the military for money. I could have turned my children into mindless murderers for money, killing other people that are just trying to survive here, but they feel they have to pay money to assholes with technology to live here." Right? I'm going to try to load this one up. If you are intelligent enough to understand me, thank you for being the blessing. If you think you're more intelligent than me and you think you're God in your head, I'm working on the technology to protect children from people like you. Okay, guys? I love you very much. All right, peace out.